Then I realized this thing is for the beauty, not even for the content or brilliant or anything. And then I realized, by the way, how many radio station and TV station do you have? I did my math real quick. Imagine I gave up in that process. Then when I saw, I did not perform really, really well the languages. So, no, it's not me. So I was left with law and one of engineering, especially either, even then, by the way, I was not thinking about electrical engineering. So it's like, I'll do something to do with engineering, but I'm not so sure it's electrical. So when I went there, they were offering electrical. And I was told, if you want, actually it's just opposite main. I was told, if you want computing or anything, go to Chiromo. Chiromo? Is that nowhere medics are? How come that engineering is happening here, but the other engineering is happening the other side? They say, no, it's not engineering, it's computer science. Between main campus and Chiromo, I've done my enough research. What is I was like, this is better. I'm getting everything at the same place, which is software engineering, anything to do with the computing, anything to do with the computer science itself, and so on and so forth. So I went there, and there was this guy called Labala. And he was like, you know what? I asked him, is there like a very affordable course that I could do here as I wait? Because we used to wait for 2 years. You guys are so lucky, by the way. You guys are like, we finish high school, you're in university. We used to wait for 2 years, and a lot of things can happen in 2 years. It was like, we used to offer ICT diploma, but I don't think. But if you're in a hurry, you could do computer science diploma. I'm like, diploma? Okay. But to cut the story short, where I was going with this story is that my guardian, who happened to work for Air Force, Kenya Air Force, he showed me the reality of engineering. One, he said, there's what we call calculus. And he showed me his books in the military. He showed me discrete math. He showed me everything, like, this is it. I could not make sense what is happening here. And remember, I've done some proper math in high school. I'm like, okay, calculus makes sense to some extent, but introductory part. Like what we did and struggled with is introduction. Integration. And this is the thing. Then we go to algebra.
Integration.
Okay, remember by the time I'm finishing high school, I'm like, why are we dealing with A, B, C, D, X, Y, whatever? Then I saw the statistics. Why are you writing here? What does this?
What's this symbol?
And
it's everywhere.
But he told me the reality. This is what you're going to deal with. But the catch of all this is that these are just formulas expounded. So if you understand the formula, you'll have no problem understanding all these things. All these things are details. And I was like, not that bad. I can understand the formula. That's how I was able to survive KCSE paper 2. Just 2-3 formulas got me good marks. So this one should not be hard. So that's how I was introduced to engineering. And also I was given a reality check. Right? That's that's why I don't believe also in mentorship. Because I realized, okay, someone actually can tell you something and you give up. And if it's not well packaged and, broken down, you could really give up. So that's the extent of which we went through. And I believe we could do more, especially, and this actually goes down to the people who are in high schools and wherever. If maybe you have a parent or something, don't do it when someone has finished exams. Or when, now, even some parents don't expect you to go to college. That's what I realized over time. There are some parents who actually, she passed. Now what do we do?
I never expected.
Like now when you get like school fee, now you have to be, there's so much that comes with the people going to campus. And someone was like, maybe, especially for girls, maybe she should finish high school, get married, or maybe do a small course there. Right? And we need to change that perspective by actually engaging and that's one thing I like about CBC, that you don't engage someone when at a certain stage, you engage them continuously. But I'm not advocating for transferring the teacher's responsibility to a parent. Because of course, number one, a parent has bills to pay, has all these things going on in their life. And some of them, maybe even they didn't have that chance, especially in African setup.
Yeah.
They are giving this chance to their children. And they are working so hard for this chance, for their children to get this chance. So there is that. So for you, you said you had 4 engineers. Hey, you had the best of the best. 4 engineers to like take you through civil engineering, what happens in university. And I believe all of them were in school or they had graduated.
No, they're actually professionals at the time.
Yeah, so you see, you had the best experience. Like this is what happens in school. This is what you should expect after school. Imagine if everyone had that chance.
Yeah, for sure.
Things would be real different.
Exactly.
So you go to Jamaica.
JKUAT.
I think it's very different.
Juja boys.
There's JKUAT and there's Juja.
They're two different
They're
things.
two different places.
Yeah, but everyone just calls it.
Me, I was in JKUAT. I'm in JKUAT, not in Juja.
Why do they call it Jamaica?
You're actually one of the people who use it very, very often that I know of.
That's what they call it. Maybe I'm realistic.
Not as much anymore.
Hey.
It's
And by
just
the way, do you know why I
Juja.
got this name? I never believed that it's called Jamaica. The first time I visited there, and I slept there for, I think, 2 days, doing my research, by the way. Personally.
Research.
Yes. Then there was nothing. There were those prefabs where you watch TV. I don't know if you still watch TVs. There some prefabs there in between. When I came there, actually, I told you about it. Yeah.
Hole 2, hole 3.
Oh, they have like this TV up and downstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Actually, even there was like the high school. I don't know if they still exist. Those prefabs, they where people could just watch a TV and stuff. So when I saw that, actually, I was like, what? This is serious. But next time I came there, when I met Sylvia and I think you, it was, I think, 7 years of, almost 10 years down the line. I was so impressed because there was so much going on there. There were buildings. There was now JICA. There was, IAB was had set up there. The place looked really like a university, like, something nice. That's when I heard that it's called Juja Boys, and I could not dispute then because it looks even worse than a high school. Yeah, it was that bad. The only place that looked like, this can be a college is the, I don't want to call them garage, but, the places where mechanical engineers, the workshops here, where they do their thing, those still existed. And you can see they're pretty old.
Yeah, the workshop.
That's why now you could go and say, for sure, people do some stuff here. But despite that, the point I want to make here is, despite all this, and also big up to Dad and Kimathi, people thrive. Like people, and this is where now I want people to listen to me carefully. It doesn't matter the environment you're in. It's what you do with that environment.
Yes.
And if you're really self-driven, you could achieve a lot. What actually you guys experienced at JKUAT was not there. It's because of those guys. Even the project about rockets was not there. Because those guys made everyone believe that anything serious should be happening at Juja. And guess what? The biggest contributor of that is community.
For sure.
Yeah. I don't know if you still guys are holding the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another podcast I will release from an old boy of JKUAT. Really
Please do.
interesting.
It would be so interesting.
But how was your experience?
In JKUAT? It's I think, how's my experience? Trying to think here.
Were you used to many people so far?
By this time, I'm used to a lot of people. So even transitioning to JKUAT is not that big a hurdle. And then for majority of the time I was commuting, so it wasn't all that bad.
The scholar or?
The scholar. So come to classes. Unfortunately for me, class bounce. If the class bounces on my way to school, I need to find things interesting to do with my day.
Because you are not going back home.
Yeah, so sometimes I'd actually have to go back home. You're on transit, you have nowhere to go in between. And it's probably like 8 in the morning. Why are you going at 8 in the morning?
True.
So you just go back home. Yeah, so, but generally my experience in JKUAT has been very, very great. And I like what you're saying because I was talking to a friend of mine, he graduated with you actually, and we're talking about how different people experience JKUAT differently.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Depending with what you do with your time there.
Yeah.
People in your class, she graduated last year. People in her class, this year. Oh yeah, sorry, she graduated this year. people in your class experience JKUAT differently.
Yeah.
Please
Because-
explain.
I was looking at, and sometimes I'm actually even looking at the kind of exposure I've gotten, especially within the last 2 years. You know, with now the projects I'm doing or the kind of associations I'm having with some of my lecturers and some of industry people in industry, and all of this is also stemming from the fact that I'm in university at the time. You know,
Yeah.
and I do not want. By no means am I saying I am better than anyone.
Yeah.
But you have a discussion with someone who's also in engineering school, and you can see the difference of what exposure has done.
Yeah.
And you can see, you can clearly tell that we are going through the same school, but having very different experiences
Yeah.
and having very different stories of what we're going out of from JKUAT, what we're going out with from JKUAT.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so you're so modest about this, and with your colleague here saying, yes. These are people who have traveled to Japan, guys, so they should not be modest. They should be telling you how to do it, not saying different. Guys,
Yeah.
I believe in one thing.
Yeah.
There are more opportunities for all of us.
For sure,
Actually, there are
for
more
sure.
than enough for all of
Yeah.
us. It's not a zero-sum game. Because I have, you don't. So I believe that if I know something, why not share? Of course, there are people who take advantage, but should I really mind? I've done my
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
So you have been building rockets for the longest.
Longest is relative, but yes.
No, 1 year, 9 months is long.
Yes,
Yeah.
1 year, 9 months is
Let
long.
me show you how long it is. Starlink has launched in Kenya.
Yes.
I hear there is IoT satellite that has launched across the world. Kenya launched their own satellite.
Satellite, for sure.
I don't know. Uganda also launched their own satellites. India
Launched
no, not
rover.
India. Which one?
Yes,
which one
just
crashed in the
moon.
Whatever? Was it India?
Yeah, it
yeah, India. Between those one year,
1 year, 9 months.
So it's all short. It's all short.
happened.
Yeah,
a
lots
lot of things
have
happen
happened,
around,
for sure.
you know,
The space.
aeronautical and space and,
Yeah.
and engineering altogether. And this not only comes to as failures or as successes, it comes as lessons for everyone, depending on how you look at it. And for you have been building rockets. How is that? Because, you know, when I was growing up, well, when I say that now, I feel old. We were used to tell this is not rocket science. I need to just tell you this is not the hardest thing. And that should tell you rocket science is hard. But you're building these rockets. How is it like? Is it all math? Is it all hardware? Please take us through like a standard or grade 2.
Introduction. Rocket Science 101.
There we go.
This is where you shine.
This is where I shine. Anyways, actually saw
But how did
some-
you like start from? How did you get engaged?
how I got in. I saw a post some time back where someone said it was two photos. So there's one, a rocket scientist who's teaching students, and he's like, no, it was a music lesson. So the teacher says it's not that hard, it's not rocket science. And then the next photo, it's a rocket scientist teaching children rocket science, and he's like, it's not that hard, it's not music theory.
I agree.
You see?
I agree.
Really depends with how you look at it. But I think first and foremost, and what we need to understand, especially to those people who are young and also joining the space, especially the engineering space, getting a foothold is the problem, is the biggest hurdle you have to cross. After that, you go through step by step. You're literally spoon-fed. I remember when we were in first year, we had chemistry classes and physics classes. We had to go back to high school, physics, high school, chemistry, high school, mathematics. So it's a build-up. So even by the time right now, and I was actually thinking about your guardian, if right now I show you the kind of things we're working with digital signal processing, that's a whole mountain to climb. But what you forget is that there was a previous class I took, and a previous class I took, and a previous class I took. And every semester, there's always that lecturer who says, from your previous knowledge. And sometimes you ask yourself, which knowledge?
Which knowledge?
You know, there's always, it's a build-up. And the same thing with rocket science. So how did I start? How did I start? I remember when I was in high school, I really used to like watching SpaceX rocket launches.
The same SpaceX.
Yeah, same SpaceX.
When they were failing terribly.
Yes, when they were failing terribly. I remember there was one time they were trying to recover the second stage, and it failed massively. Failed. And I found it very interesting. And I remember my mom used to come to my bedroom and ask me, and by the time I don't even have a laptop, I'm watching on like a very small screen, very small phone. Like, what are you doing awake at 3 a.m.? Because that's the only time that they were launching.
Yeah.
So you have to stay up until 3 a.m. to watch it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to watch it as a past recording. No, I want it to
Real
be
time.
like, exactly, be there. So, so I think that was like the first introduction to like the entire space industry or the entire space world.
Yeah.
So coming to university, I've been very, very lucky to meet people, especially even in my class, but also outside of it, to meet people who share my interests. People who feed into my interests. And those people who will call you, Junn, SpaceX. I remember in first 10 seconds, I used to call each other, but SpaceX is launching. Ebu, wake up. Hey, there's this that's happening. Ebu, wake up. There's this test that, Ebu, wake up. And it was not for anything, but just watching and seeing this engineering beauty come to life and seeing a rocket going into outer space and wondering, wow, okay.
Yeah. And now they land back.
And they land back, exactly.
Yeah.
And they land back perfectly.
Precisely.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So thinking, now trying to even imagine yourself in that space and making up these big wild dreams of being in that space. I remember then one time I was in third year. I was going home. I'd had a class. It was something called CES Tech Week. She was part of the organizers.
And the chair.
In the chair.
That's when I met you guys, right? No,
I don't think I met you, but
During a hackathon. Oh yeah.
It's during that time, yeah.
Oh.
After that's when you became the chair?
That was
She was the chair then.
The chair.
Yeah.
You guys know how to be modest. She's the one who welcomes. She's like, you're from the African Stocking? These way, please. I'm like, what do you do around here? We're trying to, please, up the stairs.
And she has very good PR.
Oh, my goodness.
She has very good PR.
My goodness.
Let me tweet her on. Going back to the story.
I'll speak about that story in conclusion one day.
All right, awesome. So it was during CES Tech Week, and I'd come in the morning, and it had not started.
So what is CES Week?
CES Week is basically a culmination of engineers coming together.
What is CES? Maybe that's the right question should be.
It's Society of Engineering Students, JKUAT chapter. It's basically a community for engineering students across the space to nerd out about the things they do, to learn together, to grow together, to experience life together. Yeah.
When was the CES started? CES is SES.
Yes.
When was it started?
It was started in 2000 and... It was about 15, 16 years by the time I was taking over.
Oh.
So it's been there for a couple of years.
So
But it was
probably
not
early
as-
2000s.
Yeah, or early 2010s, around that time frame.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
get the right...
Yeah, because when I was in school, I don't think there was CES per se. Or it was not that big.
It
Because
was,
we used to invite some of your guys for hackathon. Should I finish that statement?
Maybe
And they never
at
used to come?
some point.
Where we used to beat them hands down.
Oh, now do you?
We do even today.
I'd love
my
to see
God.
that
Yeah.
battle, by the way.
Do they happen where schools actually invite each other nowadays?
We really
We
try.
do.
Like in your time, did you like
Exactly.
call
Yeah.
multimedia? You were in Technical University of Nairobi,
Kenya.
Kenya.
JKUAT, KU.
We really try, like the student body, let's say the CES body and the, for example, in UN, it's...
Yeah, maybe we should organize one.
Yeah.
We
Maybe we should
communicate and
let
do
even
They
forget
actually
that they are
should.
organizing. We should organize one.
Intervarsity
Yeah.
hackathon.
Yes.
Let's see.
Where
It
we
It would be
see.
so awesome.
Yeah,
It should actually be really,
yeah.
really amazing.
Maybe please
Rep
let's
your
just
school.
plan something. Yeah. And see, because also that also gave us an idea that where people stop just dumping and they realize There are people who are smarter than, by this sometime you might think you're the smartest person in the world.
Until
you meet people who are like,
and then they're very chill about it.
No, they don't look like it.
They don't look like it.
Like, I'll give you this. Like when this used to happen, it was not organized by us, but of course we're participating. But you and guys even came, listened to the intro, and then disappeared. And then by then hackathon was not happening in a single day. So when it comes to presentation, that's when people realize, so these guys did not just go to do other things. They went to prepare how to represent themselves. And people used to present some serious project, because some of this project is like the one that's been developed over time about health management system. I think maybe some of your colleagues or classmates it has started for a long time because it's well funded, and also it's a problem that exists in the health sector. So maybe, please, remind me if I forget about that. We should organize something, if not 2023, 2024. Yeah.
That's actually
but go ahead.
Where was I?
CES. You're explaining to us what CES is.
Oh, CES is. So, I think that's just an introduction to who CES is. So, there's usually a tech week, dedicated week just for projects. There's also a hackathon, right?
The breakouts.
Breakouts for different
tracks.
Industries and different tracks, the likes. So I remember this morning, I went to CES week. At the time, I was still commuting, and I was not involved in community at all. I think it was actually my second meeting. So, sorry. So I got to CES in the morning, and they haven't started and had a class. I decided, let me just go to class. I leave class, and I said, let me pass by. I was going home.
Just pass by.
Let me just pass by. 5 minutes max. And then shock. So I walk in, and I remember there was this Japanese guy was talking. He's very, very silent.
He's talking, but he's silent.
He's very. He talks and he's very silent.
Okay.
So when he talks.
He does.
Okay, how does it work?
It's. I have no idea what example to give you, but he talks, but you can still feel him silent even when he's talking. He's very.
So he doesn't talk loud.
No, actually.
But neither does he talk.
Very composed, very serene, very flatline. Just
I see that picture.
Yeah.
That those people who are flat toned.
I don't even think it's a flat toned.
No?
It's just
the level of
ambiance.
composure is extreme. It's just very.
Yeah.
Okay, I would love to meet him.
You should. So I remember I was struggling to hear him, but I could see he was doing a presentation, and I could see a rocket. And I was like, 5 minutes turns into 10 minutes. I can stay for this one. And then a very tall gentleman stands, and is introduced to be a student.
Allah?
And he's the one who's leading this project. And he talks so passionately about the kind of things they're building with rockets. 10 minutes ended up being him and the entire presentation. And I remember I was at the door. So I told myself, I'm not going to let this opportunity pass me by. So as they were leaving, I just dashed out. Hi, how are you? My name is Junn Hope, and I would like to join the program. Thanks.
Yeah. So were they like pitching for people to join?
They were. So what happened? It was an introduction, or basically a presentation of Nakuja and what the kind of work they were doing. So the Japanese man was our supervisor, Dr. Shoya Aoki, and the young gentleman was Washington Kimathi, who was our leader, who was the leader of Nakuja at the time. So
what is Nakuja?
Okay.
Nakuja in Swahili means I'm coming.
I'm coming.
Yeah.
Which makes sense if you think about it. Because
But
that
do they
rocket will
have
go
that
and
in
come
mind?
back. So it will come back.
Do they have that in mind when they are saying Nakuja? Or
I generally
it's a
wish I
Japanese?
knew, but it's not a Japanese.
It's a Swahili.
It is a Swahili. It is a Swahili word, because there's also a country project that's Jebet for electric vehicles. So yeah. We would like to meet the people who gave them these names. We really
That's
would.
incredibly creative, yeah.
They were.
Is it creative?
It's just
Think about it.
How it
Jebet makes you carry yourself, right? Because it's an electric
very
vehicle.
straightforward. ingenious,
rockets.
It's genius.
Exactly.
So Jebet is also happening at JKUAT.
Yes.
Okay. Is it working or?
Yes,
just-
it is.
Yes.
It is. It is.
I love how you guys are in harmony on this
Because it's
and
true.
passionately.
We've seen it
Taifa
working. We've
laptop.
seen
In the project.
Taifa laptop.
They work.
But I heard you guys are doing assembling.
We do assembly.
Which I had an issue with because I believe you guys could be able to collaborate with Dedan with the capacitor. building
Oh yeah,
and all that.
true.
I'm also a believer of collaboration because working in silos mostly
It
delivers.
doesn't help.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
But anyway, so Nakuja is a project around rockets that can actually land themselves.
Yes. For now, it's we're building. They're called amateur rockets. So they're not the SpaceX level kind of
Yeah.
rocketry.
Sophisticated, yeah.
Yeah, and rocketry is like stacked. So there's model rockets and there's amateur rockets, and then now we go into more commercial and large scale rocketry. So we're basically an amateur rocketry group. We build rockets from scratch. That is inclusive of the propellant, which is very interesting if you did chemistry, if you like mixing things up and seeing things burn.
Please. I
All
said
right.
we are grade 2.
Sorry.
Now, when you talk about chemistry, and this is chemicals, right?
Yes.
And how they react
With each other.
to create some propulsion, right?
Yeah.
How is this? What is this mixed together? And because the earliest I think people get engaged with chemistry is when they take the matchstick, they load it on the wire that is on a bike. I don't know what to call that wire. You know the wire that holds the rim from collapsing.
Yeah. Yeah, that
The
the best
spool. Is this
explanation.
called a spool? The two wires that you
Spoke.
the
Spoke. Yeah.
Yes.
The spoke. That's the right word. So there's a way we used to carve it as young boys, then use a nail and a thread, and then we put the powder, the matchstick powder, which actually lights the matchstick, and then we place the nail on top of that, and then we hit it against a stone or something, and then it produces like a pop sound, like a bullet. And I think still boys do that, or I don't know if it's boys or girls.
I've actually never even heard of that. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it still happens because during sorry, say that again.
This is something I'll be trying soon. I'm taking.
No, absolutely, it's fun, but also you might get into trouble. So I see most people try it during Christmas or New Year because there's so much
Fireworks and the likes.
happening, which produces sound, so you not disturb
You
the
can
peace.
join in the fun.
So before the firework, especially in Mombasa, something happening, but you're not seeing the fireworks. That's why I'm assuming, these are boys being boys or girls. These are kind of, even maybe
Girls
girls are
being
doing
girls.
it. But given it's late at night, I highly doubt girls are doing that. But you never know. It's a changed world.
Yeah.
So that's the closest I think earliest age. And then when you understand chemistry and you see potassium react with what? What triggers potassium? What is our
Water.
chemist?
Was it water?
Chemist is
Chemical
right.
Remember,
there.
there's this like we
What
have a chemistry
triggers-
engineer.
Yeah, we have a
Why is he not
proper
here?
chemical engineer.
Yeah.
Oliver should tell us because we have 4 mics and
I remember potassium used to dart around the surface of water with a pop sound. I remember. Is that
he's highly reactive with water.
with water?
So when you think about all these things are fun. Like in the core of it, they're really, really fun. So
True.
when I hear you talk about propulsion now, even me, I'm interested in rocket science. So I also think science should be fun.
They should.
And I know it requires resources for sure,
Yeah.
but it should be fun enough that this reminds also me something very interesting that I did after university.